Alrighty, guys. So this is the start of our Monday 9:14 homework reading for Rogue Wave lines 260 to 332. Though it might be fruitless, Sully yelled down to the galley alcove. "Listen to me, Scoot. You'll have to get out by yourself. I can't help you. I can't break in. Listen to me. I know you're in water, and the best way out is through the skylight. You've got to dive down and open it. You're small enough to go through it." She could go through either section of the butterfly window. "Tap twice if you heard me." She did not respond, and he repeated what he'd just said, word for word. No response, no taps from below. Scoot couldn't understand why he didn't just swim down and open the doors to the cabin. Release her. That's all he needed to do, and she'd be free. Sully looked up at the sky. Please, God, help me. Help us. It was almost unbearable to know she was alive, and he was unable to do anything for her. Then, he made the decision to keep repeating. "Listen to me, Scoot. You'll have to get out by yourself. I can't break in. Listen to me. The best way out is through the skylight. You've got to dive down and open it. You're small enough to go through it." He decided to keep saying it for the rest of the day and into the night, or for as long as it took to penetrate the hall with words. "Skylight, skylight," over and over. He'd heard of mental telepathy, but had not thought much about it before. Now, it was the only way to reach her. Scoot finally thought that maybe Sully was hurt, maybe helpless up on that bottom, so that was why he couldn't open the doors and let her out. That had to be the reason. Sully was up there with broken legs. So I'll have to get out on my own, she thought. Over the last 2 days, when she wasn't on the wheel, she had been exploring the Sea Dog, and she thought she knew all the exits. Beside the companionway doors, which she knew couldn't open, there was a hatch on the foredeck for access to the sails. Then, there was the skylight, almost in the middle of a long cabin. Sully had opened it, she remembered, to air out the boat before they sailed. As she clung to a light fixture by the alcove, in water up to her shoulders, something kept telling her she should first try the butterfly windows of the skylight. The unheard message was compelling. Try the skylight. Sully's voice was almost like a recording, a mantra, saying the same thing again and again, directed down to the position of the galley. Scoot remembered that an emergency flashlight was bracketed on the bulkhead above the starboard settee, and she assumed it was waterproof. From what Sully had said, Bo Tucker took great care in selecting emergency equipment. It might help to actually see the dogs on the mental skylight frame. She knew she wouldn't have much time to spin them loose, maybe 30 or 40 seconds, before she'd have to surface for breath. Trying to think of the exact position of the upside-down flashlight, she again tapped on the hull to let her brother know she was very much alive. He pounded back. Sully looked at his watch. Almost 4:30. About 3 hours to sundown. Of course, it didn't make much difference to Scoot. She was already in dank night. But it might make a difference if she got out after nightfall. He didn't know what kind of shape she was in. Injured, she might surface and drift away. The mantra kept on. Scoot dove twice for the boxy flashlight, found it, and turned it on, suddenly splitting the darkness and immediately feeling hopeful. But it was odd to see the Sea Dog's unusual overhead and open hatchways, into the blige and the debris floating in the shining water. All streaked with lubricants, odd to see the toilet upside down. She held the light underwater, and it continued to operate. Every so often, Sully lifted his face to survey the horizon, looking for traffic. He knew they were still within 16 or 17 miles of the coast, though the drift was west. There was usually small boat activity within 20 miles of the shore, fishermen or pleasure boats.